Welcome, wisdom seekers. The journey we are embarking on today is one of inner stillness, a quest for peace amidst chaos, calmness amidst confusion. In a world that constantly challenges our peace of mind, filled with uncertainties, stressors, and anxieties, we often find ourselves reacting impulsively. We respond with anger, fear, or distress, and only later, in moments of reflection, realize that our reactions have not served us. But there is a way to remain unshaken, no matter the storm. There are habits, deeply rooted in the teachings of the ancient philosophers, that can help you stay grounded and calm in the face of adversity. These aren't just habits for surviving difficult situations. They are tools to thrive, to rise above the turbulence of life with clarity and strength. Let's explore these 10 habits, each deeply rooted in timeless wisdom, each a key to mastering life's greatest challenges. These habits have been practiced for centuries by some of the greatest minds in history, and now you too can make them a part of your life. Wisdom seekers, your support means everything. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and consider using the thank you feature to make a donation. Every like, subscribe, and donation helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. Ready to unlock more wisdom? Let's get started. Habit 1. Breathe deeply. Think clearly. In moments of crisis, when the world feels like it's spinning out of control, what is your first instinct? For most of us, the immediate reaction is panic, fear, or confusion. Our breath becomes shallow, our mind races, and we're consumed by a whirlwind of emotions. Yet in this very moment, we hold within us a tool that can bring us back to a state of calm: our breath. The ancient Stoics, particularly the likes of Seneca and Epictetus, emphasized the importance of breath as a means of controlling one's mind. They understood that the breath was not just a physical function, but a bridge between the body and the mind. When we breathe deeply, we engage with our parasympathetic nervous system, signaling to the body that it's safe, that it doesn't need to remain in a state of fight or flight. But more than that, deep breathing slows the mind. It creates space between impulse and reaction. It allows you to think clearly, to make decisions not based on fear or emotion, but on rationality and wisdom. The philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you breathe deeply, you bring yourself back to the present moment, grounding yourself in reality, rather than being swept away by imagined fears. Think of a difficult situation you faced recently. Perhaps it was a moment of confrontation, a piece of unexpected bad news, or a high-pressure decision. What was your initial reaction? Did your heart race? Did your thoughts scatter? Now imagine, instead of immediately reacting, you took a step back and focused solely on your breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. With each breath, your mind clears. The fog of emotion lifts, and you begin to see the situation for what it truly is: a momentary challenge, not an insurmountable obstacle. The habit of deep breathing is not just a tool for moments of crisis. It's something to practice daily. By incorporating deep, mindful breathing into your routine, you condition your body and mind to remain calm, even in the most stressful situations. With every breath, you remind yourself that no matter how chaotic the world around you becomes, you have control over how you respond. This habit is foundational. It is the first step toward mastering your mind. In moments of difficulty, when your instincts urge you to react impulsively, return to your breath, breathe deeply, think clearly, and from that place of calm, make your next move. Habit 2. Embrace the power of silence. In today's world, silence is a rare commodity. We are surrounded by noise, literal and metaphorical. There's the constant chatter of social media, the relentless demands of our jobs, the endless stream of information from the news, and the opinions of others. We're always bombarded with stimuli, and as a result, our minds become cluttered, overwhelmed, and unable to focus. But the ancient philosophers knew the value of silence. For them, silence was not just the absence of noise, but the presence of clarity. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the importance of retreating into one's own mind, finding moments of quiet to reflect, to think, and to regain a sense of perspective. Why is silence so powerful? Because in silence, we are forced to confront ourselves. We are forced to listen to our own thoughts, to sift through the noise in our minds, and to find clarity amidst the chaos. When you practice silence, you create space for reflection. You give yourself the opportunity to step back from the noise of the world and focus on what truly matters. But silence is not just about external quiet. It's about cultivating an inner silence, a mind that is calm, focused, and undistracted, even in the midst of a noisy world. This is perhaps the most difficult form of silence to achieve, but it is also the most powerful. When you can silence the constant chatter in your own mind, you are no longer a slave to your thoughts and emotions. You become the master of your mind. To cultivate this habit, start by intentionally seeking out moments of silence in your day. Set aside time to sit quietly, without distractions. It doesn't have to be long. Just a few minutes of undisturbed silence can have a profound impact on your state of mind. During this time, don't focus on anything in particular. Just allow your mind to settle. If thoughts arise, observe them without judgment and let them pass. Over time, you'll find that these moments of silence help you build a greater sense of calm and clarity, even when you're faced with difficult situations. In the face of adversity, silence can be your greatest ally. Instead of reacting immediately to challenges, take a moment of silence. Step away from the noise. In that silence, you will find the clarity and strength to respond, not with panic or fear, but with wisdom and composure. Habit 3. Detach from the outcome. One of the greatest sources of stress and anxiety in difficult situations is our attachment to outcomes. We invest so much of our energy and emotions into wanting things to go a certain way, into hoping for a particular result. And when things don't turn out as we expect, we experience disappointment, frustration, and even despair. But the ancient Stoics taught a powerful lesson. Focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, put it simply, some things are in our control and others are not. This simple truth holds immense power. In any situation, there are factors that you have influence over. Your actions, your decisions, your attitude, and there are factors that are entirely beyond your control. The actions of others, external events, outcomes. The key to remaining calm in difficult situations is to focus your energy only on what you can control and to detach from the rest. This is not an easy habit to develop, but it is one of the most liberating. When you detach from the outcome, you free yourself from the anxiety that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. You stop obsessing over whether things will turn out the way you want them to, and instead focus on doing your best in the moment. You focus on the process, not the result. Consider a challenging situation you're facing. Perhaps it's a work project with high stakes, or a personal relationship that's going through a rough patch. Your instinct may be to worry endlessly about the outcome. Will the project succeed? Will the relationship survive? But what if, instead of fixating on the result, you focused solely on what you can control? What if you poured your energy into doing your best work, into being the best version of yourself, without worrying about how things will turn out? This doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. It means you've come to terms with the fact that the outcome is not entirely within your control. By detaching from it, you protect your peace of mind. Whether the outcome is favorable or not, you've done your part. You've acted with integrity, with effort, with intention, and that is all you can ask of yourself. Detaching from the outcome allows you to remain calm even when things don't go as planned. It frees you from the stress of uncertainty and the fear of failure. You become more resilient, more adaptable, and more focused on the present moment. And in that state of calm, you're more likely to make wise, considered decisions that lead to better outcomes. Habit 4. Practice acceptance. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the concept of amor fati, a love of fate. This is the idea that we must not only accept what happens to us, but embrace it fully, seeing every event, no matter how difficult, as necessary and valuable. When you practice acceptance, you acknowledge that there are things in life that you cannot change. There will be times when life throws challenges your way, unexpected losses, failures, hardships. It is natural to feel frustration or sadness in these moments, but acceptance is about going beyond these initial emotions. It's about recognizing that resistance only creates more suffering. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The more you resist what has already happened, the more you suffer. But when you accept it, you free yourself from unnecessary pain. Acceptance is not about passive resignation. It's about acknowledging reality and then deciding how you will respond. Imagine you're faced with a personal setback. Perhaps you've been passed over for a promotion at work, or you've experienced the end of a relationship. It's easy to feel bitter, to wish things were different, to resist the reality of what's happened. But what does that resistance achieve? It only prolongs your suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows you to move forward. It doesn't mean you have to like what happened, but it means you stop wasting energy fighting against reality. By practicing acceptance, you allow yourself to focus on what you can change. Your attitude, your actions, your perspective. You shift from a mindset of resistance to one of growth. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for learning and development rather than as roadblocks to your happiness. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop striving for better. It means you stop fighting against the things you cannot change, and in doing so, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters. This habit is the foundation of resilience. It is the ability to remain calm in the face of adversity, not because the situation is easy, but because you've made peace with it. You've chosen to accept reality, and in that acceptance, you found strength. Habit 5. Maintain perspective. In the midst of a difficult situation, it's easy to lose perspective. Our problems can seem overwhelming, all-consuming, as if they are the only thing that matters. But the Stoics knew that perspective is everything. The way you view a situation can completely change your experience of it. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to zoom out, to see his problems in the grand scheme of things. He would reflect on the vastness of the universe, the endless passage of time, and the smallness of human concerns in comparison. This wasn't meant to diminish the importance of his life or his responsibilities, but to remind himself that his problems, no matter how significant they seemed in the moment, were just a small part of a much larger picture. When you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, will this matter in a year, in 5 years, in 10? Will this problem define your life, or is it just one moment in the grand arc of your existence? This shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful. It helps you realize that most of the things that cause us stress are temporary. They are fleeting moments of difficulty, not permanent states of being. By maintaining perspective, you prevent yourself from becoming consumed by the present moment. You remember that life is much larger than this one challenge. But perspective isn't just about time. It's also about empathy. When you face conflict with another person, for example, it's easy to see things only from your own point of view. But what if you took a step back and tried to see things from their perspective? What if you tried to understand their motivations, their fears, their desires? By doing so, you might find that the situation is not as adversarial as it seems. You might find common ground, or at least a greater sense of compassion. Perspective allows you to stay calm because it reminds you that there is always more to the story. Your current challenge is just one chapter in a much larger narrative. And when you see it in that context, it becomes easier to face with courage and composure. Habit 6. Cultivate patience. Patience is perhaps one of the most undervalued virtues in today's fast-paced world. We live in an age of instant gratification, where waiting for anything feels like an unnecessary burden. But the ability to remain calm in difficult situations often depends on your ability to be patient, not just with others, but with yourself and with the process of life. The ancient philosophers understood that patience is not just about waiting. It's about how you wait. It's about your attitude during times of uncertainty, delay, or frustration. Patience is not passive, it is active. It is the ability to endure challenges with grace and composure, to remain steadfast even when things are not going your way. Seneca, in his writings, often spoke about the importance of endurance. He recognized that life is full of hardships and that the ability to endure them with patience is what separates those who suffer from those who thrive. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult, he wrote. Patience, then, is not just about waiting for things to get better. It is about daring to endure the present moment, no matter how difficult, with a calm and steady heart. In difficult situations, impatience can lead to rash decisions. We become so eager to escape discomfort that we act impulsively, often making the situation worse. But when you cultivate patience, you give yourself the time and space to think clearly. You allow yourself to sit with discomfort, to observe it, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Patience is also about trusting the process of life. There are times when no matter how hard you try, things don't happen on your timeline. Success takes longer than expected. Healing is slower than you'd like. Relationships take time to mend. In these moments, patience becomes a form of wisdom. It's the understanding that some things take time and that rushing them won't bring better results. The habit of patience is something you can practice daily, even in small ways. The next time you find yourself frustrated, whether it's because of a long line, a delayed project, or a difficult conversation, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that patience is a choice. It's a choice to remain calm, to trust that things will unfold in their own time, and to focus on what you can control in the meantime. By cultivating patience, you become more resilient in the face of adversity. You develop the ability to endure discomfort without becoming overwhelmed by it. And in doing so, you maintain your calm, your focus, and your strength, even in the most challenging situations. Habit 7. Choose your thoughts wisely. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoic philosophy is the idea that we are not disturbed by things, but by our thoughts about things. This insight, famously articulated by Epictetus, lies at the heart of the Stoic approach to maintaining calm in difficult situations. It suggests that it is not the events themselves that cause us distress, but the way we interpret and think about those events. Your thoughts are incredibly powerful. They shape your emotions, your actions, and ultimately, your experience of the world. But most of us go through life without ever questioning the thoughts that arise in our minds. We take them at face value, assuming that if we think something, it must be true. But this is not the case. Your thoughts are not facts. They are just mental interpretations of reality. The habit of choosing your thoughts wisely involves becoming aware of the thoughts that enter your mind, especially in difficult situations, and deciding whether or not to engage with them. When you're faced with a challenging situation, pay attention to the thoughts that arise. Are they helpful? Are they rational? Or are they driven by fear, anger, or anxiety? For example, imagine you're in a conflict with a colleague. Your immediate thought might be, they're being unreasonable. They don't respect me. This thought triggers feelings of anger and resentment. But if you pause and question that thought, you might realize that it's not necessarily true. Perhaps your colleague is under stress. Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. By choosing to think differently, maybe they're struggling with something I don't know about, you open the door to empathy, understanding, and a calmer response. This is not about denying reality or ignoring problems. It's about recognizing that your thoughts are not always an accurate reflection of reality, and that you have the power to choose which thoughts you engage with. When you choose your thoughts wisely, you choose to focus on interpretations that are constructive, rational, and aligned with your values. This habit requires practice. Start by paying attention to your thoughts throughout the day. When you notice a negative or distressing thought, ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is it based on facts, or is it just my interpretation? What's a more helpful way to think about this situation? Over time, you'll find that by choosing your thoughts wisely, you can maintain a sense of calm and control, even in the face of adversity. Habit 8. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the idea that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. This distinction between what is within our control and what is not is a central theme in the teachings of Epictetus, who famously said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." In difficult situations, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the things we cannot control. We worry about what others will think of us, how events will unfold, and whether the outcome will be in our favor. But the more energy we spend on trying to control the uncontrollable, the more stressed and anxious we become. The habit of controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't is about recognizing where your power lies. You cannot control other people's actions, the weather, the economy, or the passage of time. But you can control your own actions, your attitude, your mindset, and your effort. This is where your power lies, and this is where your focus should be. When you focus on what you can control, you become more empowered. You stop wasting energy on things that are outside your influence and instead direct your attention to the things that truly matter, the things you can change. This shift in focus not only reduces stress, but also makes you more effective in dealing with challenges. The next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, ask yourself, what is within my control right now? What actions can I take? How can I change my attitude or approach to this situation? And for the things that are outside of your control, practice letting go. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you accept that there are some things you cannot change, and you stop wasting energy trying to fight them. By practicing this habit, you develop a sense of inner peace. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance and instead take ownership of your life. You realize that while you cannot control everything, you can control how you respond, and that is where your true power lies. Habit 9. Find meaning in difficulty. One of the most profound ways to stay calm in difficult situations is to find meaning in them. This idea is rooted in the philosophy of existentialism, particularly in the writings of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl writes about how even in the most horrific circumstances, individuals can find meaning in their suffering, and in doing so, can endure even the greatest hardships. Frankl's philosophy aligns with the Stoic idea that we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can control how we interpret and respond to it. When faced with difficulty, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge help me grow? What meaning can I find in this experience? This is not about seeking suffering or glorifying hardship. It's about recognizing that difficult situations are often the crucible in which we are forged. They test our character, our resilience, and our values. And while we may not choose these challenges, we can choose how we respond to them. We can choose to see them as opportunities for growth, for learning, and for becoming a better version of ourselves. When you find meaning in difficulty, you transform the situation. It is no longer just a source of stress or pain. It becomes a catalyst for growth. You begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. And in doing so, you develop a sense of calm, because you know that no matter how difficult the situation, there is value to be found in it. This habit is not easy to cultivate, especially in the midst of hardship. But over time, as you practice finding meaning in even the smallest challenges, you'll find that you become more resilient. You'll no longer be overwhelmed by difficulties, because you'll know that they are part of your journey toward becoming stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Habit 10. Live in the present moment. Finally, the most powerful habit of all, living in the present moment. So much of our stress and anxiety comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. We replay past mistakes in our minds, or we obsess over what might go wrong in the future. But the only moment that truly exists is the present. The philosopher Lao Tzu said, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. The present moment is the only place where you have power. It's the only moment where you can take action, make decisions, and experience life fully. Living in the present doesn't mean you ignore the past or neglect planning for the future. It means you stop letting the past or the future control your thoughts and emotions. When you're fully present, you're able to respond to situations as they arise, without being weighed down by regrets or worries. In difficult situations, practice bringing yourself back to the present moment. Focus on what is happening right now, not on what happened in the past or what might happen in the future. What can you do in this moment to improve the situation? What action can you take right now to move forward? By living in the present, you free yourself from the mental chatter that often causes stress. You become more focused, more aware, and more at peace. And in that state of presence, you'll find that you're better equipped to handle whatever challenges come your way. These 10 habits, when practiced consistently, can transform the way you respond to difficult situations. They are not quick fixes, but lifelong practices that will help you develop a sense of calm, clarity, and resilience in the face of adversity. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this exploration of Stoic habits, it's clear that the path to inner calm and resilience lies in cultivating a mindset that aligns with reality, rather than resisting it. Each of the 10 habits we've discussed today is a tool, a guide to help you navigate the inevitable difficulties life throws your way. They are not just abstract concepts, but practical ways of living, tested by some of the greatest minds in history, and they remain as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Remember, wisdom seekers, calm doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges, but from facing them with a steady mind and a clear heart. It's about training yourself every day to see the world as it is and responding with grace, wisdom, and strength. These habits, embracing the present, practicing reflection, detaching from expectations, accepting what you cannot change, maintaining perspective, cultivating patience, choosing your thoughts wisely, focusing on what you can control, finding meaning in hardship, and living in the present moment, are not just strategies for surviving adversity. They are a roadmap for thriving in the midst of it. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. This is the essence of what it means to stay calm in difficult situations, to focus on your own mind, your own actions, and your own growth. You now have the tools to turn any challenge into an opportunity for growth, to transform discomfort into a source of strength, and to face life's storms with a sense of peace and purpose. But remember, knowledge is only the first step. True mastery comes through practice. So start today. Start now. Apply these habits in your life, one day at a time. Slowly, you'll find that the moments of chaos become less overwhelming. The periods of stress become more manageable, and through it all, you remain grounded, resilient, and at peace. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Stay committed to your growth, wisdom seekers, and remember that the calm you seek is already within you, waiting to be uncovered, habit by habit, day by day. Until next time, keep seeking wisdom, keep growing, and stay calm in the storm.